Welcome back to our YouTube channel. In today's video, we will find out the top 10 terrifying things the church doesn't want you to know. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The Catholic Church, also known as the Roman Catholic Church, is the largest Christian church and the largest religious denomination, with approximately 1.3 billion baptized Catholics worldwide as of 2019. Being the oldest international institution, the largest in the world in continuous activity, it played a leading role in the history and development of Western civilization. The church is made up of 24 particular churches and nearly 3,500 dioceses and eparchies around the world. The Pope, who is the Bishop of Rome, is the chief pastor of the church. The Bishopric of Rome, known as the Holy See, is the central governing authority of the church. The administrative body of the Holy See, the Roman Curia, has its main office in the Vatican City, a small enclave of Rome, of which the Pope is head of state. Over the years, the Catholic Church, also known as the Roman Catholic Church, has done some pretty sketchy things that they don't want us to know about. So we'll be looking at this and more only in today's video. Top 10 terrifying things that the church doesn't want you to know. Number 10. Cutting funding. The church gave thousands of dollars to non-profit organization companies that would help Hispanic immigrants get access to health care, among other things. It was until they found out that companies supported the gay and lesbian rights group, so the church cut the funding to this company for their connection to the LGBTQ2S+ community. They're not the only group that the church has done this to, though no apparently, and I quote, since 2010 9 groups from across the country have lost financing from the campaign because of conflicts with Catholic principles. Number 9. The gay clergy member. In 2018, a secret Catholic group came forward claiming they had information all about their clergy member Monsignor Jeffrey Burrow. They claimed that he was using the gay male dating app Grindr and would visit gay bars weekly now. According to normal people thinking, there's nothing wrong with being gay. What's wrong with shaming this poor man and outing him? And the poor man had to resign, obviously. This is something the Catholic Church doesn't want us to know. Why? Because they say homosexual acts are immoral and contrary to the natural law. They also say homosexual tendencies are objectively disordered, and they also preach celibacy. So having a clergy member that is gay is highly controversial for them, and they tried to hide it. A lot of Catholics were outraged when word got out the scariest part. How did they find out about Jeffrey in the first place? Apparently, the group was tracking his movements based on the apps he was using. Pretty terrifying and also very, very wrong. Number 8. Imprison Galileo. In 1663, Galileo was like science is greater than God. He also said that the sun was the center of the universe and claimed that the earth moved around it. I mean, he was onto something there, but just he was slightly off anyways. The church didn't like these claims because they conflicted with the teachings of the church, so they imprisoned him. He was imprisoned in his home for years. I mean, they threatened him with torture imprisonment and even being burned the stake. So let's just say he got off easy compared to those other punishments. It wasn't until 350 years later did the church be like, okay, yes, we agree Galileo was onto something, moving on. Number 7. Absolving sins with money. Back in the day, the Catholic Church told people that they could absolve their sins and get a ticket to heaven. If they just paid them like you were paying the church for forgiveness. Sorry, that's not how these things work. It also got to the point where people were paying for future sins. Not only that, they claimed that for a few relatives could get their deceased loved ones out of purgatory, and people fell for this all. Not only that, but poor people thought that they were screwed. They're like, if we sin, it's over, we can't afford to pay to get our sins forgiven. I wouldn't be surprised if the rich went around committing crimes and killing people, then being like, here's some cash on, all good. Number 6. Several priests. In January of 2002, it was discovered that 234 priests have had allegations of sexual misconduct made against them in the last 50 years. These individuals are using their title and control to take advantage of others. Some of the victims did file lawsuits against several dioceses and got multiple million-dollar settlements in some cases, but that still does not take away their trauma and their PTSD. Even though the Catholic Church held a worldwide summit to talk about all this, it wasn't that effective, as priests were still caught taking advantage of individuals years later. Number 5. Joan of Arc. It turns out that the church wasn't the biggest fan of Joan of Arc. In fact, at one point she was pretty much the Catholic Church's number. One public enemy, long story short, she believed that God was speaking to her and had told her to start an uprising to get the English out of France by doing. so she pissed off some high-powered Catholics who wanted her gone. So they decided to put her up for a trial, but legit, they had no evidence against her, but they were like, whatever, fake it till you make it right. So they just accused her of heresy with no evident cause. It was a lie, and on top of that, they denied her counsel, which was against the church's rules. They just hated her and wanted to get rid of her. There were like 70+ charges brought up against her. One of them was for wearing men's clothing, in which she was burned at the stake in 1431 in front of a crowd of thousands of people. They lit her on fire for wearing male clothing, but it was discovered after her death that she never even did this literally. They killed an innocent woman because they were probably intimidated by her. Number 4. The slaying of women. The innocent pope wasn't innocent at all. He was terrified of witches. He said that they were real and a huge threat. So he created a huge witch hunt. He dispatched his men to Germany to try witches, and due to the pressure he put on them, countless innocent women were killed after being accused of being witches, all because Pope Innocent was paranoid as hell. Not only that, but in 1487 a book was written all about these witches. It's said that this book promoted burning them at the stake, and that influenced several killings. Plus, the book was just filled with lies, like saying these women would stop cows from producing milk and would ride on broomsticks in the air. It's just truly messed up and spreads misinformation and paranoia. Number 3. The burning of the dead. The church holds grudges because 43 years after John Wycliffe passed away, they had his body dug up and burned. Now, let me explain how it got to this point. So John saw fault in the Roman Catholic Church and saw how it was corrupt. So he believed that people should worship God and Jesus according to the Bible, not according to the popes and their bishops and priests, because people are corrupt but the Bible is not. He also believed that people should interpret the Bible for themselves and not how other people tell them to interpret it. Well, the church did not like this at all. So when he passed away, they ordered all his books to be burned. They also ordered for his body to be unburied, and for some reason, it took them years to get this all done. So 43 years later, his body was finally unburied and then torched, and then his ashes were just thrown into the river. Number 2. Inquisitions. It should not be forgotten the Catholic Church would routinely arrest and torture Jews, Muslims, along with other individuals of different religions. They were like, convert to our beliefs or be executed. It's your choice. They were given a warning. They were told to vacate the area, and the people that stayed were arrested, and then either forced to convert or be executed. Sometimes they even tortured them before execution. They used branding to hang them from their thumbs or toes and would break their bones after that. That's when they were strangled and then burned at the stake. Number 1. The misuse of power. Just this year, it was discovered that the French clergy had taken advantage of over 200,000 young individuals since the 1950s. It is disgusting the height of this happened between the 1950s to the 1970s. That's when most of the cases were discovered then. There was a resurgence of cases in the early 1990s, and the Catholic Church doesn't want anyone to know about this. The church was turning a blind eye to the perpetrators. They were more focused on protecting themselves and their reputation. They did not care for the victims at all, a report said, and the Catholic Church's immediate reaction was to protect itself as an institution, and it has shown complete, even cruel indifference to those having suffered abuse. Like I said, it's disgusting. Tell us in the comments section your thoughts. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed watching today's video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for more such amazing content. We will see you in our next video. Till then, take care. Goodbye.